But as you know, I almost wrote a book back in 2013, 2016 called The Ultimate Human Dilemma. But I never really went forward with it because I just didn't know what was missing. Now I realize I needed to take a detour into yoga.
Yeah.
Because using the chakra system to explain ourselves and teams and couples and organizations and societies and cultures, we're a accumulation of all of those, water molecules.
Yeah.
For sure. How much of that makeup is hornified?
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of what this is all about.
Yeah.
This episode of Roots to Fruits is produced and distributed by Be Connected, a social media management firm in Northeast Wisconsin.
Hey everyone, I'm Kelly Williams, and welcome to the Roots to Fruits podcast. Episode 10 is a little different, and honestly, a little unexpected. A while back, before Tiny Hands was even out in the world, I sat down with a longtime colleague and friend, Rick Stokes. Rick and I have spent decades in the same industry, learning, building, and honestly trying to make sense of a lot of the same challenges. From leadership to innovation to what it really means to connect as people. At the same time, this wasn't meant to be a podcast, it was just a conversation. Two people reflecting on ideas from the book, where they came from, and how they show up in real life. But as we listened back, it felt too real and too meaningful not to share. So what you're about to hear is that conversation. Raw, unscripted, and very much in the moment. We talk about everything from leadership and empathy to science, systems, and what it means to truly belong. Some of the core ideas behind Tiny Hands. And Rick brings a perspective that I deeply respect. He's someone I've always considered an enzymatic leader. Someone who creates space for others to grow and do their best work. As we close out season 1 of Roots to Fruits, I just want to say thank you for being part of this journey. We've got an exciting second season coming with some incredible guests ahead. So, with that, I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as we did having it. Here's Rick Stokes. And, as always, build soft, bond strong. So Rick, you finally read the book.
I read the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the advance copy.
Yep.
For sure. You can tell it's been well traveled. Yeah.
Better traveled than if I were
right
with it. That's great.
Yeah. That's good.
So what do you think?
That was outstanding. I think, one, knowing you really got you out of there and into the book, which I love, right? So it's just great to have it documented. As you know, I've bought copies for all my team. I want them to read it because we've kind of grown up in this industry together, right? So a lot of what's in you is also in me. And I think it's really going to help explain to my team, some of the areas that I come from and some of the things that I'm trying to project. So yeah, man, thanks for writing it all down.
And being an engineer yourself.
Engineer as well.
It definitely, I think, appeals to the technical person, but
I think so.
Reduced to anybody can get it.
Well, I think, engineers are stereotypically not in touch, right? Right. I think you and I are trying to, break that reputation a little bit and do be in touch and do be approachable and do be, sensitive to the human condition and things like that. So yeah, we're breaking the stereotype a little bit. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing, right? And to be able to kind of write that down and define it and define how we're doing it is really cool.
And where it didn't start as a book.
Yeah.
And it started as a white paper, which led to another white paper, which led to another white paper.
I remember. Yeah.
It's like, I think this might actually be a book.
Yeah.
But it was really just realizing that water represents everything. So if you look at what a water molecule does, and on the book, that's oxygen in two hands, the tiny hydrogen hands holding a DNA molecule, because that is what holds the DNA molecule together. It holds everything together. It's what allows water to rise up a tree against gravity is hydrogen bonding.
Yeah.
And what's so great about hydrogen bonding is it's a super weak force. It's barely touching.
Yeah.
But in large numbers.
And yet probably the most important force on the planet, if not the universe, right? For
And
life.
for life,
Yeah.
because you can't do without it.
Yeah.
And then, that kind of led to realizing that people are just like a water molecule.
Yeah.
And so all the metaphors started to become not just metaphors, scientifically founded. And so I just felt the need to explain it. And then so much of it came from that purposeful pursuit to put it together. These other pieces, like realizing that you see that in leadership
Yeah.
with what I call an enzymatic leader.
Right.
And that's why particularly you were on my mind as I was getting this book done, because you're one of the people that always comes to mind when I think of who in my career have I considered an enzymatic leader.
Yeah.
And you've always been one of them. And everyone who's ever worked for you would contest
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah. It's funny you said that, because I mean, we didn't talk about this beforehand, right? That is the part that resonated with me most in the book. And I mean, I've even got it, I've got it marked, right? Right. Because I'm like, oh, that's me. That's how I do it.
Yep.
Right. Call it leading from the middle. Right. But yeah, I'm not a task manager. We have goals. One of the things that really resonated me about being an enzyme is, I don't think the enzyme cares that much about what it creates, but it is about creation, right? It's about taking, it takes mass and it breaks it down and it creates something new. And it just does it, right? And that's my leadership style as well. Hire good people, let them go, right? And they'll probably come up with a better idea than you had along the way. So don't point them in too many directions. Just give them some breath to find their own way. And they'll find it. And that's what we do.
And hydrate the roots, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Keep them hydrated. But it's
Yeah.
hard, right? Especially in today's what I call incoherence that we all live in.
Yeah.
When you have a team that you see their need for hydration, but there's just so much causing them
Yeah.
where they're at. I mean, how do you water the unwaterable at times?
Yeah, before reading the book, hornification was not something that I thought about, but now I see it. Oh man, that's so hornified. Just the department, or you get well, we do it that way because that's the way we've always done it. Somebody was complaining the other day that one of probably our best salesperson, doesn't follow the rules. She goes around the rules to get things done. And I'm kind of like, well, if our best people have to break rules to become the best, then maybe we need better rules. Right? And that whole thing, it's like hornification,
Mhm.
We've become rigid. We've become so rigid we can't even see another path.
And I'm glad you mentioned rigid, because that's where it started, is making that connection to water, that we're just like water. And hornification, like when that last water molecule leaves the room, it slams it shut. It'll never rehydrate.
Yeah.
So you got to stop it before it hornifies. So hornification, I want to bring that
That's
back
good.
into language,
Yeah.
but it's also a sign of entropy. So entropy, and most people don't think about entropy, but we're in the sustainability industry and chemicals. So we see so many aspects of this dynamic.
Yeah.
But entropy is like the thing that we're all taught as engineers. You don't design anything without its incorporation. It's what reduces chaos to something you can manage.
Yeah. No, that's
Right?
great. Yeah.
So engineers are trained to manage it.
Yeah.
And then we carry that forward. So when we're in this place that we're at, where we need to rethink a lot, we can't let go of what we're bracing against.
Yeah.
And entropy isn't chaos; it's dispersing force.
Yeah.
It's constantly dispersing
Yeah. It's
things.
It's
And it-
evolution. too.
so you either brace against it,
Yeah.
and the more you brace, the more energy it takes to brace, until what? It breaks or it
Breaks.
collapses.
Yeah.
So if we just behave like soft power is soft bonding. It is hydrogen bonding, and part of it is that need to eliminate ambiguity,
Yeah.
because we don't want to live there. But that's where life lives.
Yeah.
Life looks at probabilities. It doesn't make decisions until it has to. It always waits till the last minute, but it's always right.
It does.
And we're
It does.
constantly bracing against it.
That's where, for me, like entropy and empathy go together a lot. Things are always changing. You don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know what somebody's day's been like just because you've known them for 40 years, right?
Right.
And you've always got to be empathetic to what they might be going through in that instance.
I love combining those two words.
Yeah. Very, very similar. Obviously not rooted in in the same evolution of that word, but man, yeah, they're really important.
There's a lot of talk about, is empathy real? Is it really needed? But let's not talk about that part of empathy. Let's talk about what I call the physics of belonging. Because deep down, we're all driven to belong like a water molecule.
Right.
We get in
We
our
all
own
fit
way
in,
of that.
yeah.
So to me, empathy, a true empathy, is letting everybody have their space. Everyone's truth gets a chance to be told, right? It
Yeah,
is,
for sure.
and trust comes from that. And I just feel like there's a lot of words we use and we have the definition wrong,
Yeah.
or we need to rethink what it means to us.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And if, I have a good friend that says empathy is not enough. You got to go even deeper. I'm like, well, depends on your definition of empathy. Right.
True.
Right. Does empathy mean understanding? I think it does. The true definition is probably not quite there. It's just you certainly understand somebody's going through something, right? And you understand why, and understand how they feel that way. To truly mean that you completely understand, exactly what they're feeling? Probably not, but you understand enough so that you can treat them humanely and with some.
And so before the book actually was on the market, I kept feeling this like energy draw almost, and I didn't know what it was, but I knew it involved consciousness.
Yeah.
So I was led to find this podcast called The Telepathy Tapes. It was about nonverbal autistics and their ability to, and I started to realize, when I say Einstein wasn't wrong, but he was incomplete maybe, because I think E = mc squared, the speed of light squared, is also coherence squared.
Mm-hmm.
Coherence does square because one enzymatic leader can regulate an entire room.
Yeah.
So it absolutely squares.
Yeah.
But being led to that, I realized in a lot of ways, this book kind of is a prepare, if you as a person want to go down a path to just feel belong, like just to feel that weight off your shoulders of just being there. Presence is where your feet are, right?
Right, yeah.
So I realized that a lot of it is hydration, and our fascia, like that is our antenna to our internal world and external world.
Yeah. Funny, Kelly, I think about fascia a lot because of our yoga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think about fascia before we got into yoga?
Never, not one time. Didn't even know what it was, actually.
Yeah, I think I knew there was something in there, but
for a long time I thought it was the muscles.
Yeah.
Was fascia.
Yeah, right. Now you're this next little stiff, and you realize that's probably starting down here somewhere.
Yep.
We never really think about that, and I think about that a lot in the organization that I work in. Right? It's like, okay, we're not getting this done. Is it the salesperson that's not getting it done, or is it some other place in the organization that's not allowing us to, close this account or have success with this new technology, or is it someplace else in the market altogether that we're just missing the message? So the connectiveness, and you might have a really good organization, but if this part of the fascia in the organization is horrified, it's causing pain all the way through it.
It distorts the signal everywhere else.
Yeah.
I think that's and I wasn't sure if you would pick up on the leadership side of the book or the yoga side of the book, because the same person that got me into yoga got Rick into yoga. And so it's been a part of my life ever since.
Right? Yeah. For challenging our manhood and dragging us to hot yoga.
And look, there's nothing better than getting your butt kicked in a hot power yoga class that very first time. You're hooked.
It's humiliating and addictive at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, when you carry your own butt home.
Yeah, that's right.
that's So as you know, then I went through the teacher training, and I never knew why. I never cared to understand why. But as you know, I almost wrote a book back in 2013, 2016 called The Ultimate Human Dilemma, and I just decided I knew none of it was wrong. It all still to this day makes perfect sense, and it's embodied in later parts of the book.
References to it.
But I never really went forward with it because I just didn't know what was missing. Now I realize I needed to take a detour into yoga.
Yeah.
Because it really because using the chakra system to explain ourselves and teams and couples and organizations and societies and cultures, we're a accumulation of all of those water molecules.
Yeah. For sure.
How much of that makeup is hornified? Yeah. Right? That's kind of what this is all about.
Yeah. I love you went into the depth on the root chakra too, how important that is. And I really appreciated that part of it, that there's a grounding that's so important, and you got to start there. And if you can build that, everything else gets a lot better.
I feel like there's, if you look at go back before this current incoherence that we just look, our lives are privatized
Yeah.
from schools to medical appointments and insurance claims. And it's like, we used to hang out in neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Like we were that generation that truly did,
Sure.
the last generation.
Yeah.
But then we kind of went to our yards,
Yeah.
to our back porches. Now we don't even go outside.
Yeah.
Because we privatized that. So inside all that coherence, I give a lot of blame to why it takes us until our 40s to find our truth.
Yeah.
Because back then you found your truth because you never got distorted from your authentic 10-year-old self.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't do that to you.
Yeah.
So everyone's out mission driven, but they don't realize that a lot of times that passion, that drive is a distortion of your truth, not the true truth. And something will happen, hopefully, I think in most, that will kind of force a loop back to that. And the reason that 10-year-old self, so it's interesting why I've been on this 10-year-old thing for so long. Remember back when we were traveling in our careers in the 90s,
Sure.
early 2000s, generally you check into a hotel in Hartsburg, South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah.
It turns on to C-SPAN.
Yeah.
So I turn it on, throw my bags around, just not even pay attention. But I caught Alan Greenspan 2 times explaining to Congress about the state of the economy.
Yeah.
And he said both times, so matter-of-factly, that when his book came out, I got him like, he's going to explain it.
Right.
A little bit, not a lot. Is that up until 4th grade, we performed the best in the world in science and math and precipitously dropped from there. Why?
Yeah.
You know, so I thought it's because with 75% of the population being sensing, using Carl Jungian terms,
Yeah.
and 25% intuitive, I felt like, well, we kind of built ADHD is not a real thing to me. It's like, so I think part of it is just that, but it's also, you've got 10 years of experience now to kind of take the reins of yourself into the world. And that's true. But what I missed is that's when your root chakras formed.
Yeah.
What does that mean? This is what people really need to pay attention to. What does that mean? It means that when shit happens that you don't plan for, you either fight, flee, fawn, freeze, or appease.
Yeah.
Versus what? Flow.
Flow. Yeah. Just go
Flow with it.
Yeah. See where it takes you.
And
Yeah.
Pete, we have salted the somatic soil of our youth and getting frustrated by it. But it's like, so we've caused it. So how do you undo it? If you truly want to feel that physics of belonging, if you truly want to be part of Coherent Squared, who wouldn't, right? Who would say, nah, I'd much rather hate everybody. I'd much rather find my excitement through torture and pain.
Sure. Yeah.
No, you want to be a part of it. So how do you do it?
Yeah.
I think it's here. It's that heart chakra.
Yeah.
And what's missing to turn this on truly, and what this means is vulnerability becomes a silly word.
Yeah.
You're just living your truth. And when this is on, like the autistics, for the non-speaking or the spellers, however you want to call it, the way they reacted to that was authenticity. So when your words don't match your feelings, they know it because they're reading your nervous system.
Right.
And we do that all the time.
Yeah.
We're performative, not reverberate.
Sure.
We're constantly not sharing our true feelings.
Yeah.
So if you want to share them, go back and find that 10-year-old self.
Yeah.
Because that was your most authentic you. You knew what you liked, you knew what you didn't, you knew what offended you, you knew what triggered your curiosity, you knew everything about yourself.
Yeah.
Unapologetically.
And you didn't hold anything back, right?
No.
Just
You were
said-
completely
said
honest
how you saw
without, yeah.
And it was cute.
You got to find that again. And
It's cute.
that's what turns that electromagnetic field on. That's where Coherent squares.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of that energy. And as the world gets more and more incoherent, I feel like this is physics coming out. You can't stop it. The only way to stop that drive of belonging is to hornify it into an
good.
absolute sociopath,
Sure.
right?
Which
Those are
happens.
people,
Yeah.
they don't have eyebrows. They don't need them because
Yeah.
emotion means nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway.
That's it. That's good. Yeah. That's really great. Yeah. We talk a lot about, being nice versus being kind, right? And like that 10-year-old self speaking truth, it's not concerned about being nice. You haven't trained that person to, with all the niceties of polite society and things like that. They're
That's
just
right.
telling the truth.
Yep. And kindness you can feel.
Yeah.
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 But at 10, you're always intending to be kind, right? Trying to do the
Dogs.
right thing.
Dogs the same way.
Yeah.
Like a dog will feel somebody's energy before they even walk into the room.
Says hi. Yeah.
Like this guy right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not blocking their raw filter
Right.
of reading. I guess yoga was the missing piece for me. because now I just see that even to the yamas and niyamas, most people don't know there's 8 limbs of yoga.
Yeah.
And the yamas are how you treat other people, like non-stealing, non-harming. And then the niyamas are how you treat yourself, like self-study, cleanliness, all of those things. Very similar to the 10 Commandments. And the difference is these aren't rules to live by. They're generally what somebody becomes when they go through that process. Yeah. They become that person.
Yeah, that's true. Right? I think about this a lot. Someone once told me, you are how people perceive you to be, right? And in the examples, Hitler thought he was a great guy, right? Clearly he was not, right? But and maybe he realized that at the very end. But he thought he was a great guy, and it does matter how you project yourself, right?
Yeah.
But I think people get caught up to, I need to project something other than myself, and that's never the right thing to do, right?
And it creates static. It's noise.
It does. Yeah.
So there's just a lot of nervous system readers out there that generally just. So how do you survive a dehydrating, incoherent world? You protect your own little island of hydration.
Yeah, you become mass. Right?
You become mass, but you live in your own little area where you can, enough of your life can maintain hydration, whether it be exercise or yoga or golf or whatever it is. There's something that you can find that gives you some hydration in your life because the environment around it. And as you know, like I'm big on this 1989 savings and loan. And it's like, look, there's a big event that happened and no one talks about. It birthed private equity, and look where that's gotten us.
It did. Yeah.
They treat business like extracting and mining a hillside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Yeah. Whether it's rare earths or homes.
Or health.
Yeah. Healthcare. Healthcare, insurance, medications. Yeah, I go so many examples. James Clear, Atomic Habits. Do you know, so this week is our sales meeting, right? Last year, I just become, VP of marketing. My first slide was his quote.
Oh, yeah? Well, I don't know his quote.
No, you got
Oh, the one that I have in there?
You do not rise to the level of your goals. You just, you fall to the level.
You fall to the level of your system.
Yeah, so I opened with that, and then explained how we're going to transform our whole initiative at my company from going through a just opportunities-based company. It's like, every shiny penny that a customer holds up saying, hey, I need help with this, we rush to it, right? And so everybody is going in a million directions trying to solve problems to, a focused, centric, data-driven company that makes, that does campaigns based on market needs. Right? And it was, I started with that quote, like we all have goals. All the salespeople have goals of, growing, right? But our systems aren't focused on helping you achieve those goals. So we're going to back up, do market research, collect that data. And you had a lot of stuff in the books about empaths and data, right? Empaths and organizing. And so, we're backing it up. We've spent the last year redefining all of the data collection that we do on the markets. We're saying, hey, in this space, we've got really good products, really good services, and we have 10% market share, right? Why don't we focus on this?
Right.
Our customers are saying, we love your product, and yet we only have 10% market share, and we're the biggest company in the world at what we do. So that's not good enough. So we're focusing, we're doing campaigns and kind of backing up. But I thought it was really cool that quote actually launched this whole new department that I'm running. And it's in the book.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's in the book. He's from Hamilton.
No, I
He's
do
from
not know
Hamilton,
that.
Ohio.
I needed a quote for that section that embodied that section. So I searched so many quotes. That was one of the hardest parts of the book, is narrowing down which quote for there's only 5 parts of the book.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So I had to get the best.
A lot of good quotes out there.
A lot of good quotes out there. So that was actually that was challenging. But you mentioned something that I'm curious to get your thoughts on is and I gave somebody a really robust, future-oriented, skate to where the puck is going way to think about packaging supply chain.
That's good. Yeah.
And I was pretty proud of it.
Okay.
But the question that I was given was, well, why isn't XYZ doing this? Why isn't anybody else doing this? That's the question that's going to be asked of me by the private equity group.
Sure.
So, and see where I'm going with this. We have found ourselves. You don't establish trust by eliminating fear. You re-establish trust through hydration and what we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes. But in business, I feel like people are paralyzed to make decisions.
Yeah.
How do you hydrate that freeze?
Sure, man. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah. People are more afraid of making the wrong decision than they are enthusiastic about making the right decision. Folks just don't think about, man, if I pull this off, it's going to be great.
Right.
Right. Then think about, oh, if I'm wrong, I'm going to be in
It's
trouble.
career
It's
suicide.
career suicide.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's big. It's big. You've got to get to a place in the organization where you have leadership that's willing to try new things, and it's everything is hydrated, everything has got some flexibility. You had a quote, I think it was permission to end.
Yes.
We have so many projects at my company that have just been going on for a really long time, and nobody wants to give up because that's failure.
Right.
Right. There's a guy, James DeGraff, he's at the University of Michigan, which I hate, but he's awesome. Right.
He hates because he's a Buckeye.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. But he's amazing, and he has a quote called "Fail early and off Broadway." Like, look, and it's if you have a play, it's not ideal to open on Broadway and have it fail, but off Broadway in front of 20 people, give it a try. It sucks.
Correct me
Rewrite it.
Correct me if
Try
I'm
again.
wrong, but isn't
Yeah.
that how the Beatles became the Beatles?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they started in
They went
Liverpool, and they went to Germany, which was open to.
And played every night.
It's played every night and got
Yeah,
better.
got
and
better,
then-
better,
and then
better.
I'm sure they sucked the first few times, but they're in Germany, so nobody cared. They just
Yeah.
kept-
Permission to fail, permission to
fail.
end.
So I think that's a lot of it, and my company's gotten so much better at it. And again, as we reshape things, is okay. We're going to market driven, not opportunity driven. It's okay. Well, look, these are the goals we're going on. So this one doesn't really fit for what we're doing, so it's okay to let this one die. And the people are working on it like, oh, thank God.
You can feel the
Yes.
exhale.
Yes, it's my, it's my decision as the empathetic enzyme leader saying, I'm not going to digest this, right? And they go, oh, thank God. Just let it die. Hey, we can come back to it years from now if it's something that the market wants, but I'm just going to let it die.
I never thought about it this way, but I'll share with you because it just came to mind, just kind of reverberating on what you were saying about market driven, is I feel like that also has lots of interpretations.
Oh, it does. It does.
Maybe the better word is direction driven, because I've always believed you don't have to have the jigsaw puzzle finished. You just have to believe it's going to have trees and a lake in it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go towards those trees and lake, and we're going to piece it together.
Yeah, it is direction. Marketing's just the excuse. Yes, we did marketing, and the marketing said go in this direction. But yeah, it's about belief, and having some data to back up that belief never hurts.
And realizing what data will steer the course.
Absolutely.
I think we sometimes think so much about how many pages is my PowerPoint, than just because a lot of times what is important isn't the bricks in the bracing.
Yeah.
It's the soft power behind it all.
Right. It's the support system.
Which is really what led me to Ultimate Human Dilemma was when somebody finally sat me down and showed me this Myers-Briggs stuff that 75% of the population is sensing. And they said, look, you're here. We just interviewed everybody in your R&D because I was given that, I was creating that role. So I brought them in on a recommendation. They're like, look, your upper management's 95% sensing and your R&D organization is 85% intuitive. You've got a real problem here. Because they don't see what you see, and we were starting stage gate, which is suicide for anything innovative and all. Yeah. So what he said, like, remember those old color televisions when you turn it on, it starts with a little color pixel, and eventually, like, you have that amount of time to get them to see what you see. Yeah. Otherwise, it's your fault. So I carried that with me. So I'm like, well, there's got to be somebody that's written about this. Could not find a book for no one was talking about this. Yeah. But there were two books that were popular in the early part of our career, Good to Great, and Innovator's Dilemma.
Yep.
So I thought for sure they're going to talk about this. No, they didn't. They showed autopsies of why people fail, companies fail, and why some defeat the odds. And behind all of those stories are people that either hydrated or dehydrated organization.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We can name some good dehydrators, but we'll keep them
Right.
off record. Yeah.
I'm sure we
Yeah.
thought of some similar people.
For sure. Yeah, I have 3 copies of Good to Great because I've been at 3 companies that gave it away.
Mhm.
This is how you do it. Is it?
Uh-huh.
This might be some good examples of how you don't do it. Right.
But there was
Yeah.
one common trait amongst those leaders that did defy the market. Patience.
Yeah.
So you could draw that they were reverberant.
Yeah.
And willing to so they were practicing what we're talking
Sure.
about here,
Yeah.
right? So those people were different.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
true.
I figured you had heard of those books. They were quite popular.
Yeah,
So
sure.
basically, Ultimate Human Dilemma started out of necessity because nobody else was talking about this stuff.
That's good.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the Green Key is such a good example of this. I felt like that could be you could do a whole chapter on Green Key or just a whole separate book. And maybe it's too early in Green Key's life to do the book, but yeah, it's cool that you're living it.
I think once we combine that with being able to engineer enzymes
Yeah.
with godlike power, we can control enzymes. The real chemists of the world. Nothing
Sure.
against your staff,
Yeah.
but they're the real chemists in the world.
Yeah, the original.
So I think when you realize that everything we need, nature's already built with its preferred monomer, which is CO2.
Yeah.
Not ethylene, not propylene. And then, just the entropy of fossil plastics. Look, the reason we use them is because they're obedient.
Yeah.
They don't fight back.
Right.
Water, living materials have a relationship with water, a relationship that makes big scale industrial operations quite challenging.
Sure.
So what do? We cook the steak and then bitch that the raw nature of the molecules aren't there anymore, right? So I feel like until we stop treating natural materials with fossil logic, we're going to be stuck spinning our wheels.
That's where we are, right? The solutions are there, right? We just haven't scaled them.
But it takes a different approach.
It does.
Even scale.
Yeah.
Scale's no longer centralized large plants that service the planet.
Yeah, it's got to be localized.
It's got to be localized.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we'll get there.
In someone's lifetime.
Yeah, right. All right. I do think about how, we've been in the industry, 30 some years, right? Think about how much closer we are now than we were 30 some years ago.
I'll give you that.
And we were talking about it. I mean, it wasn't, this isn't new. We've been talking about circular economies for a really long time. But yeah, I think it's very encouraging that we've identified the solutions. It's about implementation.
Yeah, I saw a guy from one of the big brands say the technical stuff is easy. The non-technical stuff that's so hard.
Yeah, right.
And I think you and I have been living that truth. Like
absolutely.
we can solve these things.
Yeah. Well, 4 or 5 years ago, the 2025 targets, the Eleanor MacArthur targets come out. We're going, well, it's going to be tight, but it's doable, right? Of course, that came and went and the brand failed on it.
Not one came close.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But from the technology side of things, so
yeah, we can do these things.
Yeah.
Lots of different ways.
Yeah.
So the ultimate human delight, because I think if I remember, you actually got some peeks at that work when I was working.
I did,
on it.
absolutely. Yeah, I read a couple of
So
white papers.
the revamped, what'd you think?
Yeah, much more coherent. Like you're tying it to things that are much more tangible now. So it's just, I get it. It's kind of the same message, but the examples make it relatable.
And
quantification and the enzymes and
because it was set up like a dichotomy, hydrated, dehydrated, look like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that's something that's useful to leaders that genuinely are trying to foster hydrated environments?
Absolutely. And I got a copy for Russ, our CTO, who because he saw this on the printer, and he's like, I think I even have like one of the. Yeah, this is from him. Yeah, Rick found this on the printer, Russ. And he asked me, I guess, Kelly, like he wrote a book. He's like, Tiny Hands? He goes, I don't know, I haven't read it yet. So after, I read like the first chapter, he's that Tiny Hands are hydrogen bonding. He's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. So I haven't given him his copy yet, but I look forward to his feedback. And yeah, I mean, he's our CTO. He'll totally get it. And yeah, I think it'll help him do what he's trying to do.
The first part of hydration is to let the water into the into the structure,
Yeah,
start
for sure.
softening from the outside in slowly.
Yeah.
So this book does have a metabolism element to it.
Yeah.
And that's why I say in the very beginning how to read this book, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the audiobook is almost done, so close
that's
that I
good.
can taste
Yeah.
it. And I tell you, I'm really proud of it because that book is really, it's a really effortless digestion when you just let it kind of flow through the ears.
Well, you should be proud of it, man. It's excellent. It's excellent. I can't wait to listen to the audiobook because here I was like, it felt like I was grading a paper, something a little bit, but yeah, I look forward to just listening to it and listening to it flow.
So is one of these for you? If not, I'm going to leave you another one.
Okay, yeah, it was, but yeah.
I've got another one for you.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks.
All right.
I mean, this is good, but again, I've written all over it, took a bunch of notes, put a bunch of tabs in, highlighters. Yeah, but yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thanks for reading it. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for writing it.
I like to think every water molecule in my life has had a part to play in this, and you were certainly no different. So thank you, Rick. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Roots to Fruits. If this conversation resonated, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and share it with someone who's ready to grow with us. Let's build something lasting together.